Good.
Get some sleep last night?
Yeah. Enough.
Lots of melatonin and good luck.
That's exactly right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll start, unless you have anything to say.
No, none.
Okay. I guess I'll kind of start with that. I mean, we went through it, like it does kind of affect your body. How are you and the guys doing, and how do you think that process is going to be?
Yeah, you don't know until Saturday, but I thought our kids handled it really well. We got such a great group of humans, and honestly, we had a great practice today. So, we'll get a great night's sleep tonight and got plenty of time between now and 5 o'clock to kind of now fill our tank up and be our best by the time we get to Saturday at 5.
I know you put a lot of time and effort into researching how you were going to bring these guys over here.
Yeah.
Why did you choose to do the overnight flight versus flying during a day and then coming in and sleeping? Out of curiosity.
Yeah, I think just, all the research felt like that was the best way to do it. And, honestly, a lot of credit to, I know Joe Resendez, who's our new athletic trainer, and Nicole Kiley. I think those two really put a lot of time and effort into sleep specialists, sleep patterns. How do you give these kids the best chance to be successful? And like I said, I thought our kids did a phenomenal job in handling it. Man, is it right? How do you know? We'll find out a little bit on Saturday. I think the best you can do is try to give everybody the best chance to be their best.
What was today a typical Thursday practice, or how did you guys handle it?
Yeah, we had our two heaviest practices on Monday and Tuesday. We kind of did our Tuesday practice Monday, our Wednesday practice on Tuesday, and then we kind of split up our Thursday practice. So, we did a portion of it yesterday at home before we got on the flight to leave, and then the second part of that today. So I thought our kids really handled it well and wanted to make sure we got some good volume today as well.
What's tomorrow look like?
Yeah, and I think we're back to normal. Tomorrow is a normal kind of Friday for us. It's a lot lower key walkthrough day, and then Saturday, got some time Saturday morning to continue to walk through a little bit. And then, like I said, the biggest thing we can do for our kids is get them to sleep and really work on hydration and recovery from now until the game.
What's the curfew tonight?
Yeah, the curfew will be fast. I think these guys are tired, so we'll go get dinner as a football team tonight, which is awesome, and then we'll be back, and I think everybody will be bed ready to rock and roll. We got to get a great night's sleep tonight. That's really important for everybody.
Did you get an opportunity, or did the team get an opportunity to walk around Dublin at all prior to practice? And if so, what did you see? What was it like?
Well, we went up to St. Patrick's Cathedral, so that was awesome. We walked up there as a team, kind of did a team stretch, got to walk around a little bit as a team, and that's what I love about this group is everybody kind of wants to be together. So that was the kind of our captain's call and our seniors' call and what they wanted to do, and get an opportunity to do some things with the Gaelic games tomorrow, which will be awesome. But no, I thought our kids were great. It was great to get around. It's a beautiful city. I got to come out here last year and was so impressed with just the history and everything around here. So that's what makes a game like this really neat, is to give your kids that opportunity to see obviously Dublin and see Ireland, and it's been great for our kids so far.
What can you tell us about Trevor Boer's situation, and then how does that affect, obviously, the five across there?
Yeah, I don't think it's a huge effect. Obviously, Trev was playing really good football. He's sick, and that's it. So the great thing is this isn't a long-term thing. The thing that stinks is, man, he's been doing really well, but the reality is we've had about 7 guys that we think have been doing really well. So I don't think it has a big play. All the guys that'll be playing have all started a lot of games at the positions they'll be playing. So I'm not too concerned on that piece of it. But my bigger concern is for Trev. Obviously, just we care about him, and it just didn't feel like it was the right thing to put him on a plane and fly all the way over here. And obviously, we got a lot of football left to play after this. So getting him healthy is the number one key.
Who's your starting center?
Yeah, probably as right now it'll be between Boniface and Barrett, so, I think both those guys, that's kind of who it was between anyways, but the great thing is all those guys have started games at guard or center, and so I think we feel really confident about what that looks like.
Seen a lot of fans out there giving you guys high fives. I mean, they're everywhere. We're walking around town. Did you interact with anybody? Did you feel the love?
Well, I think it's been quick, but it's just you can feel the energy, and that's one of the things you knew that was going to be really special about this for, honestly, for both fan bases, both two great fan bases, and obviously our support system here is really special, and we've had some really special moments from the first time we went to a bowl game in Memphis to San Antonio to last year in Florida, to the Big 12 championship, and you can kind of feel that vibe a little bit here, just the support system, so many people willing to make this trip from back home. And it's what I've always said, it makes it special to be a Cyclone, is the support that our fan base has given us every step of the way. So we're really grateful for it, and we don't take that for granted by any stretch of the imagination.
How much for the defense is the preparation then about Avery Johnson and being able to keep tabs on him throughout?
I mean, just, I think that whole backfield, they're dynamic, and they've got guys that can, if you're wrong, they're going to make you pay, and they can make you pay fast. And so, from Avery to the tailbacks to, I think some of the explosion that they have at the receiver position, we're going to have to be assignment sound, and we're going to have great detail. And, again, playing that kind of style game one is a real challenge for our group. So a lot of respect for the weapons that they have and know the talent that they have certainly in their backfield.
I know you lost two amazing guys in the NFL, those wide receivers. Do you foresee any shift in play calling based on the fact that or do you not really go by personnel when it comes to when you're calling a game?
Yeah, I do think you go, by personnel, and I think the reality of it is that receiver group we're pretty proud of. We feel like that group's had amazing strides since January. Where are they? I guess we'll have to find out a lot more on Saturday where that group is. But the reality of it is you got to figure out defensively, what you're going to get, and then have a great plan to be able to make the adjustments. And who are your playmakers, and try to get those balls in their hands in critical situations. And you're right, we lost two great ones, but we feel like we've had a group that's really stepped up since January and ready to go.
Coach, welcome to Ireland, firstly.
Thank you.
In terms of the occasion on Saturday, does it really change the way that you coach a game day, the fact that you're in a different country, a different stadium, and playing in this game?
No, I don't really think so. I don't think it changes any of the way we prepare or coach. I think it's probably forced myself to be prepared a lot sooner. I felt like, how we planned really every phase of our off-season program had to relate to knowing that this trip was coming, and then not only this trip in itself, but then the trip, back home, and, a lot of football season left to play after this. So I think it really forced myself as the head coach to get out of my comfort zone and try to find some ways to where could we gain some advantages to prepare for the travel and obviously the travel back. Yeah, I think it certainly makes it even that much more of a special occasion, in my opinion. This is, you walk out in this stadium and it's pretty special. It's got just an iconic vibe to it, and obviously we know and respect how special this rivalry is. So you throw those two things at it, it just makes it for a really special occasion, and we respect that, and hopefully we can be the best version of ourselves as we get into Saturday's game. Oh, I just think globally they're such a well-coached football team. Coach Kleiman's been there and has had great success. And, all three phases of the game, they do a great job, from, offensive football to special teams. And then, obviously who they've been and what they continue to do on defense has made them a really well-balanced, well-coached football team. So just got a lot of respect for everything that they're about. And at our best, we hope we're, equal to those things.
There's going to be 30,000 Irish fans here locally that are going to the game that have maybe never seen an American football game before. What's the short Cliff Notes version on what American football is to someone in Ireland that's never seen a game before?
Well, I think, I got to be here for the Gaelic games last year, and I think it's a little bit slower paced game than what I watched here, last year. I was so impressed with the endurance and the speed of the games here a year ago. But, I do think the physicality of this sport and obviously the passion of the fan bases behind this sport make it really, really special.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, guys. Thanks, guys.